I know I'm not going to be able to carry on this type of travel forever. I don't know if I can get it out of my system. However, I'm going to try and do as much as I can while I'm still able. I would say there's more strain on me mentally than physically when I find myself in some of these predicaments. Crossing a landmine field on the border between Mauritania and Morocco, or getting yanked off a bus at gunpoint outside of Gao in Mali, between Gao and Timbuktu. Those are mentally straining. Having your convoy, being hit by a roadside bomb, those are mentally tough times. It's just another experience to chalk up to, this is life. I remember having a conversation with a friend of mine at school once, and he was a bit of a traveler. I was not. And he says, well, one day you should go to Africa. And I said, why on earth would I ever go to Africa? What, so I can walk around a bunch of sand dunes and huts and elephants? However, something, I don't know what, but something slowly spoke to me. It said, go to Africa. And that's all it said. It was just a voice saying, go to Africa. Making my way to Timbuktu, Mali, or in Niger, that's what interests me, is to see places where very, very few people get to see. Whether it's going deep into uncertain territory in Niger, or whether it's going to Egypt, for all intents and purposes, still during the demonstrations, a lot of it is the common element is the unknown. Timbuktu, mid-northern Mali, mid-northern Niger, they're dangerous places. There's no real government. There are various rebel gangs who, have quasi-control of the area. They act with impunity, and so there's, isolated incidences of tourist kidnappings or tourist killings or roadside bombings and things of that nature. But no matter, I was still going. A lot of people didn't think I thought my trip through when I went to Egypt so close after the revolution. The revolution started on January 25th, 2011. But in many respects, going there was far safer than going to Timbuktu or Agadez. And Agadez is a city in mid Niger. And these are places that are perpetually unstable. And even though Egypt had just kicked their president out and every member of their parliament, and they had no government, and the police force was kicked out and there was no police forces, and the only ruling authority was the military, Cairo, Egypt was still a safer place to be than Agadez, Niger, or other places like that. To find out how a nomad lives in the middle of nowhere, that is the main thing, is to see how the rest of the planet lives. I know how the people live at hotels, but how someone lives and exists flat out in the middle of nowhere, that intrigues me beyond belief. How the majority of the planet exists day to day, that intrigues me. Just like I can't get the desert out of my system, I can't get the quest for new experiences and knowledge about other people across the planet. I can't get that out of my system either.